Good morning, everybody. It's 10:02. It's Saturday, January 17th, 2026. And I'm here sitting in my mom's kitchen in this rented out Brooklyn apartment. And I'm just thinking about, like I've had hobbies, right? But I've never done anything in my life where my hobby became my profession for a long time. Maybe at most, I worked as a bartender at this closing down Turkish restaurant that was pretty much already gone. But in my spare time, what I like to do is sometimes belly dance. And yesterday, I put up a bunch of videos, and this is how I know that Google is in charge of this. And there are people working at Google that are supposed to be supervising people everywhere who know how to use a computer and are literate enough to read. And and this is how you know that they get too involved with what your personal interests are as a regular individual who's not working for Google, not working for Apple, not working for HP, not working for Microsoft, right? I'm not in the computer industry, I'm not in IT, but this is how you know that people get extremely involved with your personal life because of their ability to hack into your computer. So I don't know if I've mentioned this yet, but it's 10 o'clock in the morning. I did just wake up recently. But so sometimes in my free time, I belly dance. I've never done it professionally, but I've been doing it my whole entire life. I've always naturally had you know, a middle that was flexible. I'm not a flexible in terms of doing a split, but I have an abdominal that I guess you can say I'm gifted with because I've just always been like a natural belly dancer. So yesterday, the day before yesterday, I made a bunch of videos where I'm belly dancing in my room that I'm 34 years old. It's not like I'm 24 years old. I'm 34 years old. And I have zero access to those documents now because of the way that Google is set up. It wiped out all my videos. I had about a little less than 10 videos that I made where I'm listening to music and I'm dancing. And then, in order to get into my computer, all of a sudden they're saying that my password is not the right password. And so, not only am I somehow, whatever, not putting in the right password, but they're asking me next, which was, I thought was weird, what was your old password? Okay, what was my old password? So, the question is, how, according to Google, okay, how am I supposed to know my old password if you're telling me I'm not putting in the right password? That's not the right old password. And the whole point of me changing my password would be to access my documents. So even though I put in the fingerprint through my phone, I guess my phone is linked to this computer. All of those documents that I had just made are gone somewhere. So that's how I know that people are getting involved in, from a perspective where they're not actually interacting with you and they're drawing conclusions and jumping to judgments about people that they have access to via the computer. Now, the reason why I'm choosing to make this video, if the people who have access to the camera and, YouTube. I'm pretty sure that YouTube and people who work at Google are not necessarily the same people. They're two completely different companies. But what I'm trying to say is somehow through computer technology and hacking, they were able to ask me, why don't you put in what your old password was, in the process of me putting in supposedly the wrong current password. Now, how am I supposed to know what my old password was if the whole point of me getting to entering a new password was to get into my accounts? Why would the next question be, okay, what was your old password? I thought it was weird. And I do think that the videos that I had just made were either destroyed or stolen out of jealousy and intolerance and hatred, because we do kind of live in a world where you're still asked on your job application. Now, mind you, I have to wipe senior citizens' asses for a living. And now, to all my patients who might even be seeing this video, what I'm telling you is that I'm doing this medical profession for a living to make a little bit of money. So I'm already experiencing conflicts because I have to come to people's homes, and you don't automatically and long term, nor long term, get along with everybody, and people want to dispose of you, especially when you're so young and you have all this potential ahead of you. You're not always going to fit into every, that's not the point. The point is that I don't have a schedule where I'm consistently getting paid. Okay. There are only so many professions in this Brooklyn, New York world that where my ass fits into the mold of the job description enough for them to think that I'm hireable for that position. Okay. So because I'm a larger person, I'm not like huge, but I am intense. Okay. I do have a size 11 shoe. But I think that it's interesting how people's reaction to you is out of pure fiery jealousy in the kind of world that we live in today, and the kind of interactions that you have with people. Like, for example, long term, long distance relationships. Okay, so those hackers get involved with who you are as a person from a perspective that is, let's say, even if they were trying to make the understanding of this individual that they have access to their hobbies with enough to either erase or the documents, of what their hobbies are. Okay, so even if you did, for example, if you are a hacker and you have an interest in a female that, may have a little bit of a clue that, she's being watched by, just like some guys that have access to computer technology that are attracted to her or are not attracted to her. What I'm explaining is the relationships that people have long distance are not usually the kinds of relationships that can be stabilized practically unless there is a third party involved of some kind of elders or some kind of supervisory force that makes sure that those children stay together. And when I say children, I'm not actually talking about children. I'm talking about adults who are living in a fantasy world that they practically are going to one day be together. It's not practical. And the reason it's not practical is because it's just inconclusive for a man to keep a woman waiting and to keep a woman doubtful and assuming that one day something will happen, when in reality, what's actually happening is we're living in a world where people are kleptomaniacally trying to annihilate other people because of the nature of the beasts that are out in this world. For example, I had a driving lesson, drive, and then a road test yesterday. And the type of person who road tested me was like this individual who, in my personal opinion, shouldn't be working as a road tester. Okay, because she took points off for the wrong thing, that I was like, she like basically she said that I wasn't looking at my blind spots, and I was vocalizing to her that, look, I'm 34 now, I'm ready to pass, I'm looking at my blind spots. But this individual was younger than me, probably weighed half my weight around, and would probably be better off in some kind of an aesthetic industry where, superficially she will just look at a person while they're waiting in the car for her to come in and test them and decide whether she's going to pass or fail them. So these are the types of people that are in top tier positions right now. And how is that honorable? I feel like, we do live in a world where offspring are given priority, royal seats in top tier industries and careers, to have power over individuals that are actually good and actually being stolen from. So the fact that that filter is there, and they're creating this, despite the fact that there actually is a wall separating the country that we live in from the country underneath us, on a map, on a just excuse me, on a scale that was created by intellectuals from, centuries ago. Um, but okay, the fact that they have created this sieve against people in such an already overpopulated city like New York, and they're not allowing people to pass, to get out of here, and to repopulate the northern part of states where the cities are simply overpopulated. And then they wonder why people aren't scattering. Well, they're just not being passed, and they're being stolen from. They're not being given a chance to advance in their lives. So if you have levels of choleric inside your system, for example, I'm a melancholy primary temperament, but I'm also a phlegmatic. Phlegm is my secondary element. It's my secondary temperament. I'm a melancholy phlegmatic. And when I deal with people who are choleric primary, there are usually two things that they want from me. It's either probably my money, or sex, or for me to either win because their feelings toward me became that of sympathy, or to lose, and they can make it so that they end up winning the game of, whether there even would be a fight. So what I'm saying is that if you are a choleric individual who has the power to take something away from somebody that is a good person, it is going to be something that's exposed about you. Okay. But what I'm also saying is that um, when you try to supervise people's relationships on a platform where you have the perspective of watching their conversation that is impractical, that is a skeptical planning for the future among two people, you have access to an impractical relationship full of problems. This is true. But that should have nothing to do with your exerting power over the victims involved in being in such a terrible puddle of a relationship that might not even be there. You understand? Which is why I don't really want to do online dating ever again, unless it, because not only is it dangerous, but I mean, you just end up being with somebody that wants you to put in all the effort to be with him, because he is not the kind of guy that is capable of practically uplifting a woman into a position where her importance is a practical matter. Okay. So that's why it's like the fast food. It's like the fast food of dating, and being a person who is waiting for an authentic relationship only to be scammed all the time is like, yeah, I mean, I do feel like uh, we're living in a world where these collective powerful societies, like, these like movements and, like uh nationalistic feelings of, oh yeah, well, we're at an era where you took everything away from us, so now we're going to take everything from you. Unions are strategically planning against people who don't look a certain kind of way, even today. So it's not like you're changing society. It's not like you're helping people grow as individuals in a world that they're not totally used to. As a first generation immigrant living in the United States, I was not born in this country, but I see right through it. I see the violence that is happening with these sardine like colonies of people that felt like they were lashed because their ancestors were lashed. Now white people have to suffer, and it's like, even people whose historical ancestry had absolutely nothing to do with what was written in the textbooks of what, these landowner DNA ancestry people had to deal with. I mean, just, you're being superficial. Not everybody comes from that kind of ancestry where there were slaves involved at all. So why do you actually think that white privilege is a thing when it's not? Like, why would you actually? How have we come to a place in our world where you change the channel and everything is so segregated that a white girl can't even get a chance to get her driver's license because of the way that everything is set up and the way that these testers and these individuals who are put on a pedestal just for reasons involving, being in the ancestry of things and being related to powerful individuals in collective mindsets of that perspective. It's like, now they don't even want people to enjoy anything in life. And we've just all been tricked. We've all been tricked because, you know, the kinds of people that are hired to work at Google, these are people that I grew up with that would change their F's and D's on their report cards with a Sharpie to make it look like an A or a B. And these are the types of people that get positions at Google. I mean, unbelievable that now they can just take people's documents off of their computers and completely erase them. Like this person never even had a hobby to begin with. Out of jealousy, out of sheer jealousy and hatred because of the way I look. Unbelievable. And like when I don't have makeup on, like right now, obviously I kind of look like I'm from, Monster or something. But those were really nice. Like, I like having a hobby. I was about to, demonstrate that, like, okay, well, if you're interested in my mom's paintings and buying one of them, that's in the background of this video. I can give you the contact number for that. I can help you out with that. I can help you like buy a painting, for example. But no, people really do get to a point where they just can't, they have indescribable jealousy and they just want to do everything to destroy you. And I don't understand people like that because I don't get that kind of response when I see talent. I don't get that kind of response when I see actual like goodness in the world. But when you see something, yeah. Anyway, I have to go. If anyone wants to have a conversation about this and how their documents were stolen as well because someone got jealous or something was stolen from them to out of spite so that they wouldn't appreciate life simply because of like the kind of beauty that they have. Please, let's talk about it. Have a good day. Have a good weekend, guys.